Welcome to MVCC Learning Commons Math Shorts. The topic in this video is graphing using the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. There are two parts to the slope-intercept form, or the y equals mx plus b equation, the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is labeled as m, and the y-intercept is labeled as b. If we have an example equation, such as y equals 4x minus 10, we can figure out what the slope and y-intercept is based on this equation. Our slope is always the number that is next to the x. So our slope for this example is going to be 4. The y-intercept is the b value. And as you can see in the original formula, it is plus b. So any value that is not attached to the letter or to the x is going to be our y-intercept. And we're also going to take the sign associated with it. So in this case, our y-intercept is going to be minus 10. So the slope is the slant of the line, how steep it is, and our y-intercept is going to be where our line crosses or intercepts the y-axis. So if we go to another example and we actually graph these lines, we can see how those two parts line up. So we always want to graph our y-intercept first. So our y-intercept, in this case, is going to be our minus 2. So our b value is minus 2. So this is where our line crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to go down onto my y-axis and put a dot on minus 2. So I start at my origin and I come down to minus 2 and I put a dot. Now my slope is the number that's in front of my x. And I don't really have a number written there, but there's always a number in front of a letter. In this case, the number that's in front is going to be a 1. When graphing a line, I want my slope to be a fraction. So I'm always going to put a 1 underneath if the number in front of the x is a whole number. So now when I use this value to graph my line, the number on top is the amount that I rise, or that I go up or down the y-axis, and the amount on bottom is the amount that I run, or that I go left and right along the x-axis. So I start at minus 2, and I'm going to move up 1, and then to the right 1. So starting at minus 2, I'm going to go up 1 and over 1, and I put another dot. And then I'm going to do it again. Up 1 and over 1, and put another dot. And I'm going to keep doing this until I have enough points to be able to draw a line. For some people, that might be 3 points, and that's okay. And then when you're done, connect them with a line. And there we go. For my next example, my slope is a fraction. Right? I have y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1. So from here, I have a m, or a slope, of negative 2/3. That's the number that's in front of my x. It's already a fraction, so I don't have to do anything to it. And I have my b value of positive 1. So remember, you want to start with your y-intercept, and in this case, it's positive 1. So I'm going to go from my origin up to positive 1 on my y-axis and put a dot. Now I'm going to use my slope to find the next points. So my negative 2/3 means I'm going to go down 2 on the y and over to the right 3 along the x. And you can switch this up if you'd like to as well, going positive 2 and negative 3. You just don't want to go negative in both directions. So from here, I'm going to start on my b value at positive 1 and go down 2 along the y, and then over positive 3, and then put another dot. I'm going to do it again. Down 2 and over to the right 3 and put a dot. And I have 3 points. I find that that's enough to make a line for me. So I'm going to connect them best I can. And that makes my line. So for my last example, I have x equals 5. So this is a little different. This doesn't have both x and y in my equation. I have only one letter here. So what this means is x equals 5. So I don't have a number that's next to my x, so I don't really have a number that gives me a defined slope. I don't have a b value. I don't really have something that tells me where it crosses the y-axis, but I do have something specific here. I know that x equals 5. It doesn't say that x can equal 2 or x can equal negative 3. X always equals 5. And I know where x equals 5. It equals 5 on my x-axis, right here. But it equals 5 in a lot of different places as well. It equals 5 here. And it also equals 5 down here. It doesn't tell me what y has to be. Right? There's no y value here for me to determine the y value. So y can equal anything it wants, or anything you determine it to be. But x always has to be equal to 5 here. That's the specific value for this. So in this case, x always equals 5, so we are going to end up with a vertical line here. On this vertical line, x always equals 5. And for vertical lines, there's always a specific slope for vertical lines. So your slope for vertical lines is always undefined. It doesn't matter what x is. X could be 5, x could equal 3, x could equal negative 20,000. No matter what x equals, the slope will always be undefined. And you will not have a y-intercept. It will never cross the y-axis.